everyone. My name is Selfie Onyango, and today I'll be talking to you about domestic tourism. Are you a lover of travel? Do you enjoy the scenic beauties of travel when you're looking into our country? Well, this talk today is for you. Why should we engage in domestic tourism? Not only should we do it because we want to have fun, but also because domestic tourism plays a key role to our economy and our GDP overall. But then, domestic tourism is also a way of us as Kenyans to promote Kenya by Kenyans. We should not just rely on international tourists to come and make Kenya seem more beautiful to us, or after they have just come, that's when we realize that Kenya is actually beautiful. We should embrace this particular kind of tourism so that we become more patriotic as a people to our country. Today we'll be talking about three major points in relation to this topic. We'll be talking about why should we embrace domestic tourism, who are the major promoters of domestic tourism in Kenya, and finally we'll conclude with the tourist attraction sites and why they appeal to us in our different levels. Firstly, why embrace domestic tourism? Domestic tourism, one, plays a major role in our economic growth. So for this particular reason, we need to practice domestic tourism because it adds to economic growth. If the terrorist attacks are anything to go by, then you actually know that we were hit hard by the terror attacks that we experienced. We were way higher when you actually look at the scales, but right now the number of foreign travelers that are coming into Kenya are very few due to these attacks. And if that doesn't get to you, then you should actually, as a person, take a chance and become a domestic traveler so as to impact our economy. The second point would be for self-reliance. We need to become independent. We need not rely on international arrivals so that our tourism sector can be vibrant. We as Kenyans can make the tourism sector vibrant as it is. As Madam Wakesho from the Kenya Tourist Board actually said, we should strive as Kenyans to emulate Malaysia, who have turned their tourism sector in such a way that their domestic arrivals are higher than the international arrivals. That is a very critical thing. How I wish we as Kenyans would get to such a point where we travel our country more than the foreigners actually come to visit us. Moving along, we get to the third point, which is for relaxation. Who does not like relaxing? Who does not like to unwind? Who does not like to experience rest? For this particular reason, you should actually just try domestic tourism. You don't have to go over and above. You can just go to very near places. You can just go, if you're in Nairobi, you could go to Nakuru, you could go to Naivasha, you could visit different places. We have a lot of beauty around us that we need to take advantage of. Even taking a walk in different parks that we have. You could even visit Karura Forest just to relax, just to recharge. It's a good thing. It helps you rejuvenate and you actually get clarity for the busy days that you might be having that will be coming in the future. As we move along, we get to who are the major promoters of domestic tourism. I have three in particular in this particular section. We have the government, we have the media, then we have the tour operators. Why the government? I believe the government plays a very major role in promoting Kenya to us Kenyans. A good example would be the magical experience promotions that we've been having, the Tembea Kenya campaign that we have been having. But even more recently, we've had the SMS launch campaign that was unveiled about 2 or 3 weeks ago by the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Honorable Najib Balala. This campaign seeks to lure Kenyans into becoming more of tourists in their own country. This campaign is an 8-week long campaign, and you register whether as a couple or as an individual. And then the winners are announced on a weekly basis. So far, we are into the third week into this particular campaign. We move along to the media. The media is another key player in this particular section of promoting Kenya to Kenyans, because the media allows for advertisements, there is programming in media, and these are things that are viewed by a lot of people around Kenya. You can imagine the number of radio stations and the TV channels that we actually have in Kenya currently. And at one point or the other, you will see an advert from here to there. One major program that I would like to mention is Travel Diaries. It was hosted by Eve D'Souza and Nick Wangondu. It aired on KTN, usually on Fridays, around 2014 to 2015. This program opened our eyes to the beauty that Kenya is. I would actually think that this is what got me into the love of travel and getting to know my country as a person. And finally, the tour operators. I say these particular people are the ones that know where the shoe fits and where it doesn't. They bear the grudge, particularly financially, because they are the ones on the ground, and most of the times they are actually the ones that create that employment for people who are in this particular sector. These people have gone over and above to try and promote Kenya. They have come up with packages from Valentine specials to honeymoons to even trips to Dubai. You could go as an individual, you could do it as a couple, or even so, you could do it as a group. Whichever way you decide, you have subsidized cost and you have gotten variety from these tour operators. And what are the major tourist attractions in Kenya that appeal to us in different ways? You can have the appeal from an educational perspective. Are you that sort of traveler who likes learning something new? You go somewhere, you want to get out of there with something. Let's say you go to Olkalau to learn about the rock art. You want to get out of there with the kind of art that you have seen, and you'd want to spread word about it. You'd even take photos because you'd want to spread the knowledge that you have got. So for this particular reason, you'd actually become a tourist because you want to learn. We have the National Museum. We even have Karen Blixen. These are places that are around here. They are affordable, and you actually get to experience the knowledge that you as an individual would want to experience. I am sure majority of us are actually thinking, I wouldn't want to engage in tourism and it costs me an arm and a leg. I don't have to spend my savings, my entire savings on traveling just because I'm being told that we have to travel. No, there's an affordable way of traveling. We've had companies that have looked into making sure that we enjoy our country while not harming ourselves financially, so to speak. Bonfire Adventures, if you look into it, you'd see they have a lot of packages that cater to different needs. An example would be the package where people were traveling to Dubai, and you could travel from 8 to 25 persons and you chip in a certain amount. You see, while traveling as a group, you get to minimize the cost of travel. So instead of going as an individual and paying over 100,000, you could go as a group and you actually pay maybe 60 to 70,000. There, you have saved a lot of money. And last but not least, for adventure. Are you that kind of person who has an adrenaline rush? Do you like speed? Do you like something exhilarating? Do you like something that puts you on the edge of your seat? Well, if this is a particular reason you'd like to travel, adventure is good. There's bungee jumping, there's skydiving, there's snorkeling, there's the hot air balloons, there's whitewater rafting, whichever tickles your fancy. As long as at the end of the day, you enjoy yourself, be it for educational purposes, be it for affordability, or be it for adventure. We have talked about three major points. We have talked about why should you embrace Kenya. We've looked into for economic growth, self-reliance, and for relaxation. Then we went ahead and discussed who are the major promoters of Kenya. We talked about the government, the media, and the tour operators themselves. And we concluded with the major tourist attraction sites that we have and why they appeal to us as Kenyans. educational purposes, affordability, and for adventure. Whichever choice that you decide to go with, be it you wanting to bask in the sun while at the coast, or you'd want to experience the weather while you're going down, you're fighting against gravity with skydiving, the choice is yours. Do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever makes you feel at ease, at peace, and gives you a sense of clarity. I'd want you to engage in domestic tourism so as to be a patriot and become a major promoter of Kenya for Kenya. Thank you very much.